Everyone, today we are going to learn about pterygium. What is pterygium? Pterygium is basically the pathology of conjunctiva in which there is abnormal growth of the conjunctiva on the cornea. So what is pterygium? Pterygion equals to wing. So pterygium is a word derived from that, and pterygium is a wing-shaped fold of conjunctiva which encroaches the cornea from either side, that is from nasal as well as the temporal, but from the nasal side it is more common within the interpalpebral fissure. Now what is interpalpebral fissure? The whole of this part, the what we see between our two lids, the part we see between our two lids, it's our interpalpebral fissure. Now what is the cause of the pterygium? How does it occur? Exact etiology is not known, but many people say that it occurs to the people living more in the hot climates and working outdoors. This is due to the various environmental factors such as sunlight, dry heat, high wind, and abundance of dust. Now let's see what exactly occurs due to those conditions such as dry heat, wind, sunlight, and dust. So what is pterygium? It is a degenerative and hyperplastic condition of the conjunctiva. So when UV rays and due to the dry heat and wind there is the alteration of the tear film that leads to dry eye. So due to the dry eye, the eye is more susceptible to injury and susceptibility. So the subconjunctival tissue undergoes degeneration, and due to which there is the formation of granulation tissue. Now granulation tissue goes on proliferating, and there is hyperplasia of the conjunctiva beneath the conjunctival epithelium. Now this conjunctiva keeps on growing and leaches the cornea. Okay, now this is more common on the nasal side. Now what are the clinical features of the pterygium? Now let's see which first of all, it occurs more in the old age in the males, and it may be unilateral or maybe bilateral, but it usually occurs on the nasal side. Now let's see the symptoms. What are the symptoms of pterygium? Basically, there are no any severe symptoms of pterygium, but the main problem is of the cosmetic intolerance. Patient complains of the cosmetic intolerance. Otherwise, it is an asymptomatic condition, but symptoms can be presented like such as foreign body sensation and irritation due to the conjunctiva fold. Also, if the conjunctival fold reaches the pupillary area, then it can cause the defective vision, and plus due to the pressure over the cornea, it may cause the corneal astigmatism, and which can also lead to diplopia because the cornea is damaged. Now what are the signs of the pterygium? It is very easy, like we can see in this photo. It is a triangular shape of fold of conjunctiva which is encroaching the cornea. So it can be present in any part of the interpalpebral fissure, but it is more common on the nasal side. Now if it is present on both nasal and the temporal side, then we call it as primary double pterygium. Okay. Second thing is the Stocker's line. What is Stocker's line? It is a deposition of iron in the corneal epithelium, and that too anterior to the advancing head of pterygium. Now this is the head of the pterygium, and we can see anterior to the head of the pterygium, we can see this is the iron deposition. Okay, this is known as the Stocker's line, this one. Now what are the parts of a fully developed pterygium? Now the pterygium is basically divided into 4 parts: head, neck, body, and cap. First of all, what is the head? That is this one, the apical part on the apical part which is present on the cornea. This is known as the head. Now second one is neck. Now constricted part, this one, this is the limbus. This one is our limbus, and here there is a constriction. This is known as the neck, and rest of all, this is known as the body. And what is cap? Cap is, let me show you cap. This whitish infiltrate in front of the head of the pterygium, it is known as the cap of the pterygium. Now let's see what are the types of pterygium. First we will see based on its extent. It can be divided into type 1, type 2 and type 3. Type 1 means when the pterygium extends less than 2 mm onto the cornea. and type 2 means up to 4 mm, and if it is more than 4 mm on the cornea and involves the visual axis, then it is known as type 3. Now based on its progression, it can be progressive pterygium and regressive pterygium. Now if the pterygium is really thick, vascular, with few whitish infiltrates which we can see on the cap, which is also known as fused spots or islets of Vogt, then it is a progressive pterygium. And if it is thin, atrophic, and very little vascularity, and if there is no cap but there is a deposition of iron, that is Stocker's line, then it is a regressive pterygium. Now let's see what are the complications of pterygium. However, complications are not that serious, but it can lead to cystic degeneration and infection. Second of all, it can lead to neoplastic change, to epithelioma, fibrosarcoma, or malignant melanoma. Now let's see the differential diagnosis of the pterygium. It is known as pseudopterygium, which can appear as pterygium, which is the fold of conjunctiva over the cornea. So basically pseudopterygium is the bulbar conjunctiva which is attached to the cornea. It occurs due to the inflammatory response, as it occurs after if there is any chemical burn injury, or after any marginal corneal ulcer, or any corneal trauma, or any cicatrizing conjunctivitis. Mainly, why does it occur? Because if there is damage to cornea or the conjunctiva, there are then adhesions are formed between the bulbar conjunctiva and the deepithelialized corneal surface. So it can present as pterygium. Now let's see what is the treatment of pterygium. So basically there are two treatment modalities. First one is medical and second one is surgical excision. Now what can be done as a medical treatment? First of all, as this is a dry eye condition, the tear film is altered. We can give the tear substitutes such as carboxymethyl cellulose, etc. Now second of all, we can give the topical steroids, and third, we can protect the eyes from the ultraviolet light with the use of the sunglasses. So patient can be advised to use sunglasses while going out. Second of all, surgical excision. Now what are the indications of the surgical excision? First of all, cosmetic disfigurement. If the patient complains of the cosmetic intolerance, then the surgery can be done. Now second of all, if the pterygium reaches the pupillary area, then it may cause refractive vision or irregular astigmatism. So to correct that, we can do the surgery. Third, if the pterygium is continuously progressing and if we think that it can reach the pupillary area, so we will advise the patient to go for surgery. Fourth, that is diplopia, if it causes double vision. Now it is the main problem of the pterygium even after the surgical excision is that it recurs in about 30 to 35% of the patients, and it may cause the problem again and again. So to correct this problem, so what can be done during the surgery? First of all, after excising the pterygium, we can cover that area with a free conjunctival limbal autograft. Now what is autograft? Autograft is any graft which is taken from the patient's body only. So the free conjunctival limbal autograft can be taken from the same eye of the patient or the other eye, and it is the best technique and mostly preferred by the surgeons. Second, we can put the amniotic membrane graft and then give the mitomycin C in the recurrent cases of the pterygium, and if the pterygium is very large. Third, we can do lamellar keratectomy or lamellar keratoplasty. We do this lamellar keratectomy and keratoplasty only when there is the deep infiltration of the pterygium and it damages the cornea to large extent. Now there were several old methods which were used before but they are not used nowadays. Example, Mac-Reynolds operation. Now what is the surgical technique for pterygium excision? First of all, the patient is given the topical anesthesia. Eye is cleansed, draped and exposed with the universal eye speculum. This one is the universal eye speculum. Second, the head of this one is the head. The head of the pterygium is lifted and dissected of the cornea very carefully. Third, then we separate the main mass of the pterygium. This one is the main mass of the pterygium, neck and body of the pterygium, from the sclera below and the conjunctiva above the pterygium. Then the pterygium is excised, and we have to take care that the medial rectus muscle below it does not get damaged. Then we do the hemostasis, and the episcleral tissue is cauterized. Then we place the conjunctival autograft, so that to prevent the recurrence. Here we can see first the head is being excised from the cornea below, then whole of the pterygium mass is being excised, then we bring up about the hemostasis, then we take the conjunctival autograft from the same eye of the patient, or we can also take it from the another eye. This is the conjunctival autograft. Then we remove this, and we place it on the pterygium exposed pterygium part. This is how the surgery for the pterygium is done. So that's all for the video. Thank you for watching this. Do like and share. Do like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.